everyone, and welcome to today's webinar from Tax Security. I am Chris Fisher, the Chief Marketing Officer here at Tax Security, and I'm delighted to have with me today two senior security leaders. First of all, let me introduce Bharat Panchal. He's the Chief Risk Officer of Global and a customer of security. Thank you, Bharat. We really appreciate your business and thank you for joining us today. And also with us, we have Rahul Deshmukh. He's the Enterprise Security Architect for the U.S. practice for Tech Mahindra, a global consulting company.
Good evening, everyone.
And so today yes, hello. Thank you both for joining and sharing perspectives on topic for today, which is security risk, an executive point of view. And as we all know, today's security leaders are challenged to look at risk and manage it from many perspectives, and they need to know and understand the technical risks across their entire IT stack and understand from an operations perspective how they can help the businesses or the organizations know which areas have more or less risk, and they need to help to communicate that to all areas to gain alignment on which issues to be addressed first to reduce risk for the enterprise. So we're going to talk with our panelists a little bit about these topics and get their insights into this. But first, why don't we start with a little brief introduction for each of you. Bharat, could you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your responsibilities at FIS Global?
Thanks, Chris, for having me on this talk show today for tech security. So, yeah, I work at FIS Global for almost 2 years now. I work as a Chief Risk Officer for Asia Pacific, Middle East, Africa, banking and payment vertical of FIS. Good journey so far for the last 2 years, and before that I was in National Payment Corporation of India. So I was Chief of Risk and Compliance for closely 9 years. So a part and parcel of every digital product what India is using in terms of banking, well involved in transformation of way people doing banking today in India. So that's a journey, and of course, before that work in Citibank, Kotak in India, Tata's, Reliance. So mix of telecom and banking background for almost 30 years now.
Wow. Okay, great. Thank you. Lots of great experience.
Thank you.
And Rahul, could you please introduce yourself and talk a little bit about your role?
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Bharat, for having me here. So I've been into this industry for 2 decades now, and I'm a practice head in TechM for application security, and I'm also performing the role of enterprise security architect for US region. And I have a global role, so I'm across the industries. I have the expertise and experience, be it banking, insurance, and the various pharma, in any industry that you take. And in addition to that, I also take care of the OT security practices, wherein we provide the OT security, industrial security solutions to all our customers.
Got it. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. So, after that, let's turn to our topic, which is security risk in the overall context of risk for organization. And my first question today is for you, Bharat. Could you please talk a little bit about how you look at security risks across your organization and how cyber risks in particular fit into the overall risk management at FIS?
So, irrespective of my organization or your organization or any organization today, so technology has become an integral part of whatever we do. I mean, be it academia, be it industry, be it work from home, especially post-pandemic. But that's one instance or incident which has forced us to go for more and more adoption of the technology. But if you see for last couple of decades, the proliferation of technology has been seen humongous. I mean, it has gone in every part of the society, and especially a country like India, where 2 decades ago, the teledensity itself was hardly 5 to 7 telephone per 100 people. That has gone, close to around 99%. So India has a population of 1.4 billion people, and out of which 1.2 billion people are having headsets. So, and they are connected, the active users. Something similar happened with the banking transformation, where more and more people were brought in banking. The social media also played major role for people to move from conventional to the digital communication, be it WhatsApp or Facebook or Instagram and all this. The as much as possible, automation has happened, be it IoT, or OT, or plant machinery. So all this, kind of reform by way of adopting technology has been seen in last couple of years. Now, as a conventional security or risk professional, we always used to see two, three things. Okay, credit risk, market risk, and of course, one of the pillar of Basel framework, which came a long back about operational risk. Even though in Basel 2 and Basel 3, the security was never ever a concern as a part of operational risk, right? Because the kind of mania of cyber criminals, what we see, be it for for financial gain or state-sponsored or savage or whatever you say, that was not the case a few years or decades ago. Now, all of a sudden, with all this, technology transformation, the cyber risk has emerged as one of the the very critical risk in all risk parlance. Because so far, when even the technology was there, the limited use of that technology was closely in the bonded environment, like a bank and his customer. I think they are talking each other. Telco and his customer, they are talking. Like what we three are talking over web. It was not physical, possible without the use of technology few years ago. I mean, where we used to travel physically. But while we are talking using this technology, we are not sure. Though Tech is a security company and all said and done, we are not sure that someone else is watching, or someone has tried to intrude in this session, which is not an expected actor to be there. So that security start from there. When it comes to literal use of technology, yes, people have understood slowly, gradually by by practicing technology. Like people were not on social media for before couple of years. They have learned on their own. What is missing point here, that people were not made aware about the security challenges. And because of that, while hardcore security professional or risk professional, they understand the consequences of what we are doing, that is not the case for large set of people. And because of that, security, yes, risk in existence of itself is a big problem, but people are not taking that as a serious risk. There is another risk, So both these things are making situation a little awkward because again, coming back to my previous example, that when you are in integrated world, then you have control only on your people or your own infrastructure, your own network. But when it is shared environment or integrated or interconnected environment, someone is doing a loose job at his end, which you are not even aware, or we are not privy to what they are doing. But they can still pose risk on your network or on your system, because there's a late might happen, and the weak control between the integrated environment. All these become much and much more prevailing nowadays, and that is what is making security as one of the big challenge. And last but not least, the way newer and newer things coming, and we all know that every day 500,000 new malware viruses coming in the market. The mankind on this planet is struggling with one single corona or COVID-19 virus, and we are still not able to manage that. Imagine what is happening in the cyberspace.
The similar question, as you look, from the outside in across all the clients that you deal with, how are they looking at cyber risk today in their overall risk programs? Is it
Yeah.
like Bharat saying? Is it?
Right, absolutely. The good amount of insight Bharat has given to us in terms of how the pandemic has changed and how the awareness or the usability, adaptability of technology and the risk posture. As he rightly said, more and more people started adapting technology. So they are now mobile is everyone, for many applications, everybody is using to book the tickets, the movie tickets, and to order food. While we are dealing with so many applications, various infrastructure that is hosted on the cloud, which advantage of the low cost and agility and the scalability factors. At the same time, what is happening is like lot of applications are now being hosted onto the cloud, and as we all know, the moment we say cloud, it is directly an internet, which is a public cloud platform where all the applications are hosted. And instead of perimeter being a blocker for the hacker to get in, now it is the directly the application which is facing the people, facing the internet. While all these perimeter boundaries are no longer existing, the application security aspects have taken the seat now. Application need to be secured, your coding standards need to be very high, we need to adapt to the various standards like OWASP top 10, SANS 25, and whenever we talk about the different businesses, like if we take BFSI, then PCI DSS compliances. So all these compliances, application security aspects have added value in addition to what we were looking at security earlier. Obviously, when we look at security, our concern was that we should have a multi-layered security. Your perimeter need to be secured with firewalls. You need to have identity and access management policies. You need to have your common systems in DMZ. Internal systems need to be secured with the firewall policies. There were very, I mean, I should say, the way we have grown from that stage today, it is near becoming impossible to contain all these risks. So there has to be a multi-layered approach in addressing these security concerns of today. And those involve your data security. How do you secure your data? How do you encrypt your data? Pseudonymization, anonymization principles need to be brought in. For kind of data classification that you are doing, you need to have appropriate encryption technologies. And then as there's no perimeter now, directly it is the endpoint of a user which is available on the internet. So the endpoint security becomes very crucial. So while we talk about these multi-layered security approach on the cloud, whatever hybrid model we implement, or if we go for a SaaS applications. So for any of these cloud-based infrastructure, we need to have additional layers of security, which becomes very crucial to protect our entire IT environment from the organization's perspective.
Okay, great. I appreciate that context. Bharat mentioned it, everybody's everybody's connected now, everybody's using applications, right. Organizations depend on applications, connect with customers, to connect their supply chain, even using third-party systems. We have something like a CRM or an ERP or a back-end data processing system. You have all these connections. And I guess, my next question for you, and I'd like you to each address it in turn, is, as we think about this, we're all comfortable and familiar with the technology world, and we can talk about multi-layers and applications in the cloud and SaaS and everything else that goes with all these wonderful applications and systems that we use to run our organizations. When it gets to the boardroom and we have to translate that into something that a CFO or a CEO or a revenue officer, you may or may not understand, how do we make translation easy enough for them to, they understand security risk. If we say security risk, oh, somebody got breached, somebody got hacked, everybody knows what that means. But when it comes to trying to explain who you are today in your organization's journey and what you need to do to address the risk, how do you translate that to something that these people understand? Bharat, I'd like to take a shot at that first, if you could, please.
Sure. So, when it comes to a boardroom, I think, there's a paradigm shift of the way earlier the executive management or board of director used to think about security. So if I had to see it 10, 12 years ago, when security was just introduced as a buzzword, I'm talking in the context of India, right? And security was just started by way of one of the recommendation came out of Reserve Bank of India as a central regulator, and it was started. So it was, initially as a tick in the box, because when it comes to security, that was the least priority. It was nowhere it was referred unless there is something significant has happened. From there, the midway, slowly, gradually, some bad incident happened. People lost data, some downtime happened, and all this. Then people started taking that seriously. However, till the time the CISO or the person responsible for security understand the business and convert that security risk into the numbers, because see, for CFO or the board of director, they understand numbers, and naturally the security risk is not possible to quantify all the time, but one can always give a picture short of that. Okay, if something goes wrong, then what is that risk? Naturally, my amount of and it was a practice earlier that CFO used to say, hey, if you lose a laptop, it may be $1,000, not a big deal. We'll let it up. It is not a question of $1,000. It is a security professionals to convince that CFO. It is not about the laptop price of $1,000, but it is about $1 million information and data lying in that. That is to be quantified. That key change was needed. Luckily, this happened, and initially, the security people also they started giving kind of a fear, because if you don't get money directly by putting right thing in right perspective, you have to make you tend to make a fear that, look, you don't give me this money for my firewall or this thing, then if something goes wrong, don't hold me responsible. It worked for some time, but naturally that is not a good practice. Sure. But I can tell you honestly that in the last 5 to 7 years, the understanding at the top layer, top management, and the board of directors has gone phenomenally high. They understand security. Days have gone that where you used to go and just make fun of just showing some thing and assuming they don't understand. Days have gone. The most of the companies today, apart from the expert coming from their own business area, the expert coming from legal and finance background, now there are people available on the board who understand security and just not understand. They are the people who have practiced security some point of time. So, the good thing, and I believe, for me, it is good thing that when you as the security person goes and try to fight your battle on your own, because naturally with the budget and spend money, no one is throwing money lavishly on you. You have to put up a case and you have to fight. Earlier that was the like a on a lighter note, you to break your head with the wall, because CFO doesn't understand that what security was all about. Nowadays the same CFO is so much well educated that understand security as one of the critical challenge, critical requirement. And another good thing that it is no more a struggle to explain value at risk in terms of security. That is now good. I would say environment at the board level, in the boardroom. And now last couple of years, security was not at all in the paradigm of or horizon of that discussion. Now security is one of the permanent agenda of every board level meeting. So that's a change in last 1 decade or so.
Okay, very good. That's good news for the security professionals. Rahul, is your experience similar when you're talking with the non-technical executives that TechM deals with?
Yes, of course. Like as we all are seeing the day-to-day incidents today, like every other day you see data breach news. Every other day you see ransomware attacks news. So all these incidents that are in reality, that is where the CFOs are trying to evaluate what it would mean to us. If you talk about saying one ransomware attack to an XYZ company has costed them millions of dollars, that is where it is ringing alarm bells to everybody. People are started taking these cybersecurity risks as very important factors. And in addition to the loss of money, ransomware attacks, government and the various regulatory bodies are also playing their role in making the various regulations which are crucial and making the organizations impart those practices, because they're also dealing with a lot of personally identifiable information, financial transactions which are very confidential. So all these ransomware attacks are bringing a lot of awareness among the people. In addition to that, as we were talking about in the previous question, the adaptability has led to a lot of people using banking transactions on the mobile apps. And the OTP threats and the kind of the cyber hackers, when they are trying to steal your debit card information, trying to steal your OTP, that is where even the common man is trying to understand that importance of the cyber security and how aware he should be so as to safeguard himself from these cyber crooks. Exactly a change which still need to propagate to everybody, because there are a lot many people who are still unaware about these cyber threats, and definitely people like us, professionals like us, have a larger responsibility to propagate and to spread the awareness among each and every person. And obviously the organizations are on top of that, and definitely we will try to achieve that one day.
Okay. Well, I think you both hit on some key points here, which is number one, I remember maybe 10 years ago when you know, we were working with our customers and clients and trying to find, you know, ways to get them to understand why they needed to invest in security. And at that point, it was mostly the fear and uncertainty. You know, hey, we're going to get breached, we're going to get hacked. And now I think it's turned, and the executives do understand it. They may not understand the deep technical issues, you know, like, hey, we've got to work on the configurations of our cloud, or we've got to work on these vulnerabilities that have to be patched across the organization. But they do understand the need for us to be aware. And, you know, unfortunately, we still, as you mentioned, Rahul, we still have the problem down at the individual person level, and they get the phishing email and they forgot their security awareness training, and they click on something, and oops, we have malware in the organization now. So it's important for us to continue to educate and to monitor and to be vigilant and bring these topics to the executive level. But the good news is that I'm hearing from both of you is that executives now understand it better, and they are supportive of it as part of their overall risk management practice. So if we can go a little bit different direction now, you know, but Bharata, let's turn back to you. Can you talk a little bit about how the tax security platform fits into your overall programs at FIS, and, you know, how you use the platform to help you with risk management and in FIS Global?
So I may not able to talk about specific to environment in which FIS, because that's some different team is taking care, and I have really no idea. But, you know, I will tell you, I'm part of the journey of what tech has done for many years, because Trish is well connected right from my earlier company's day, and we did good work together. So, you know, why I'm a little confident about such product or the services, because as I was telling you earlier, that people have understood the security, right? And while they understood the security, one another good thing is that there is nothing which you can secure, and that's what exactly Rahul was saying, that you can't secure everything.
Correct.
Or you can't, you just cannot say that
You
you are
can't leave
100%.
it either. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't say you are secure, 100%, because if someone claims
Right.
that we are safe, secure, and nothing is going to happen ever in our life, the guy is
They'll get fired.
no, the guy is good to make people pull, and those who are listening to him, or he does not know anything about security. Only two things are possible, right? So then nothing you can secure. Now, from there, if your environment is like that, people have understood that some or other day we will be hacked, we will be breached. Now, okay, how I can prepare myself? One, how fast I can detect that something is going wrong in my environment.
Mhm.
And the moment I get to know that something is wrong, how fast I can respond or to contain that particular, the cybersecurity breach or attack or whatever you may term for. So that's the kind of preparation is required. While we know that for sure that some or other damage may happen, how to marginalize, how to define the quantum of the risk what we will carry if something goes wrong. So far, as I said earlier, that to quantify security risk itself is a challenge. Probably that kind of issues, what ESOP or a product like that are capable to address. At least they can help. Such product can help you. That fine. If you think that you are going to breach, then what is as of now, what is the preparation?
Mm.
The predictability that what may go wrong, and if that goes wrong, where it may go wrong. So all this, using AI and ML, you can naturally you can do good quantification of that. Again, it may not be 100% accurate because security is not something. See, if you ask me, and that's what I have maintained personally, that if many times I've been questioned that what is ROI of a security, I said, look, we are not breached so far. Nothing has happened. That's the ROI, because I can't find if your systems are breached, how much downtime it will take, what data will go, how regulator will react, how your customer loyalty will remain. I don't know about that. So we are not breached. That's a ROI. Therefore, the product like ESOP and services like that can help, and that in the board or in the decision making, only data speaks. And ESOP and product can help you to quantify, present it to some number which people can take into cognizance before they decide to give a risk treatment for cybersecurity risk. So that's my take on these kind of products.
Okay, very good. And so Rahul, I'll turn to you now and ask you, as you're dealing with your clients in the world, how do you advise them on where to set priorities in terms of cyber risk? How do you decide which is the top priority thing to fix? As Bharat just mentioned, there's always something more to do, and you can never be 100% secure. So how do you tell them about priorities and help them set priorities?
See, absolutely. Like when it comes to the risks, based upon the business, based upon the industry, the risk factors vary a lot. And it is just the foundation of the cybersecurity risk posture. Look at other aspects, like where they have deployed their infrastructure. What is the level of user awareness that they have? What kind of applications development practices they follow? So there are many factors attribute to the cyber risks and associated with the kind of the threats that we may face or we may encounter. So having said that, based upon the every organizations, based on the industry that the organization is into, we need to develop a separate risk assessment framework and align those with the current practices that the organizations are following. Help us the quantification, maturity level, and thereby give us a perspective as to what kind of the security solutions we may need to incorporate into that particular business. And as everybody says, the three-dimensionality of people, process, technology is important in order to incorporate these risk factors and aware the people of the threats. So to start with, obviously we need to start with the people, make them aware, understand what cybersecurity means for them, how do they respond to your queries about the phishing attacks, or if you are trying to ask them about what they know about their applications, what they know about what kind of data that they need to secure. If you ask them about what kind of emails that they generally encounter. So these kind of inputs from the end user will really help us to evaluate what kind of threats that they are looking at and how they are exactly trying to deal with them on a day-to-day basis. And nowadays, as the people, as you rightly mentioned, Chris, about phishing attack, how much ever we are aware, suddenly there is an email saying you have won a voucher for 250 rupees or $500 or something like that. We tend to click that, even without, I mean, it looks so similar, so familiar to you, that whether it is any kind of a voucher that I do not want to name them, but any kind of a voucher that you want to encash or you want to use, you get attracted to such kind of emails. And then you click on that and you never know what those acts do in the background to your system. And
True.
this is where we need to start building up the security posture. So in addition to the technology, the people play a very crucial role here.
Okay. So I'm going to ask one more question. Bharat, you mentioned something interesting that was a feature of ESOF, which is the cyber risk score. Cyber risk scoring is something that's kind of come to vogue, if you will, in the last few years, where organizations can now, to the point you made, Bharat, about being able to communicate with data. We communicate with data, and people at the executive level understand better sometimes. Cyber risk scores are kind of a newer thing in the cyber industry, where we say, hey, our risk is 5 today, and yesterday it was 4. We're doing better. Is that the kind of data that executives want to see? Does that help them understand and put this in context? Because we have to monitor this over time to see how it changes. When change happens in organizations, we introduce a new application, we buy a new division, we start a new branch somewhere, and change happens, and new application goes up, something changes. So do cyber risk scoring, is that something that you're seeing more in use? Is it helpful? How does it fit into the overall picture for you, Bharat?
See, score. Before I really come to the answer to your question, Chris. See, unlike let's say for a good example of business continuity. Business continuities, your RTO is either 6.9 or 5.9 or 4.9, or it will be 91, depending on the criticality of your business, right? So you have still room to allow the downtime, maybe 52 minutes or 5.2 minutes, depending upon what sigma you have agreed. But there is still room. Cyber is not a place where you can allow even 1 second somebody to come and knock on your door and let him go back. No, that's more risky. So that kind of cushion is not there in terms of cyber. So having this quantification does not give a kind of laid back approach for people to say, okay, I'm committing 98, so, or it is near to that. It is not. You have to up always to continuously monitor on this. What this score helps, that that can give a posture, because there is a very good, very famous say that we can trust in the God. Rest all need to come with the data, right? So far, in security, they trust to the security guy, be it CISO or CR or whoever comes, and they whatever they portray that okay, we are good, nothing is going to happen, right? But when it comes to data, system generated data, analyze, massage, and convert it into good presentable information with the tool like SOAP, then the picture is completely transparent, completely understandable, and one can always take a cognizance, be it a security person or the board of director or regulator or anybody for that matter. That can see today. Let me tell you the reality, and it's an open secret. Any security professional go and tell to the manager that we are good or we are bad. In both the situation, nobody is ready to believe that guy. That's the reality, because
Yeah,
because
right.
because the moment you say that we are 100% secure and we are good, we are almost we are reasonably secure. The moment CFO will say, then okay, then that tool what you have proposed is not required. No more investment.
Absolutely.
Period.
Right.
Right. So there's
Thank you for your job.
there's a definite risk of
Yeah.
losing budget for a security professional. He can't do that. At the same time, he can't go and tell to the regulator that hey, nothing is there in my environment, because the moment regulator come anytime and it comes to their knowledge and regulator picks up, it's not about your security. It is a risk on your existence itself, because our regulator, we have seen a couple of examples in recent time where they become really stringent, and it's a regulator's prerogative. However, when this kind of data is there, that can give lot of confidence to whosoever read, see, understand, and analyze that information, can judge the security posture, which is very, very important in today's time.
Mm-hmm.
And all said and done, it is something is better than having nothing. So when you have data, instead of presumption or assumption or some kind of what do you call manufactured information, having data plays major role in decision making for every people. So that's why I always advocate that quantification of cyber risk is a really great thing, which will help not only the security professional, everybody whosoever possesses that information.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. Rahul, how about for you? I mean, are you seeing your clients looking for something like a cyber risk score to help them simplify the discussion?
Absolutely. Bharat has raised a very valid point. See, as the technology is growing, right, we are now fortunate enough to have the artificial intelligence, machine learning kind of solutions, wherein you are able to collect a lot of logs, lot of important data that you were so far not able to analyze it, and it was practically very difficult. Right? Because today you deploy any kind of equipment, be it a firewall, be it a IDP solution, or be it your SIEM, it generates so much of humongous logs that it's practically impossible for you to determine whether you have been breached, whether you have any kind of advanced penetration threats already out there into your infrastructure, and already whether there are any backdoors which are open and the hackers are already making use of that and trying to exfiltrate the data. All these kind of things were extremely impossible and extremely difficult for you to deal with. And thanks to AI/ML technology, wherein we are now able to analyze humongous data within minutes or within hours, which has brought down the threat detection from 92 day average to at least a couple of hours now. And having the base of this AI/ML, that has given us a great amount of confidence to at least say that I am now able to quantify my risk. Earlier, whenever we used to deal with so much of data, nobody had the confidence. The cybersecurity professionals had no confidence. Because the moment you say that our organization's risk score today is 5.0 and we are good, and the moment the next day, if the breach happens, all fingers will be pointing at you. And everybody in your organization will start questioning you. Yesterday you said it was 5.0, we are good, and now we are seeing a breach. What?
Right. Right.
So that obviously puts us in a spot. We don't know that there are people out there who are outsmarting us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So that threat is always there. So
Right.
it is 5 or 6. Even if you put a scale of 100, still 99 also is not good enough.
Right. Well,
99.99 is also not good enough.
Yep.
Always that 0.01% chance is always there, which is unknown.
I disagree. No, I
Yeah.
disagree. That even for 0.1, 0.01. Let's say, for example, 1,000 employees company, all 999 people have, done very good during phishing campaign. They did not open a but they did not, click on the link, and they reported to InfoSec guy that yes, one stupid guy
Exactly.
has clicked it. So the whole collective effort of 999 people is vanished in just one click.
Yeah.
Just one click.
Yep.
Only one
Yep.
bad apple. Finished.
Yep. Yeah. So if I can paraphrase what I'm hearing you two saying, and I appreciate your answers and your insights here, having something like a cyber risk score helps the security teams monitor, but it's not really like a report card grade. You can say, hey, we're good now. We have a good score, so everything is okay.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
But it helps the professionals know from a continuous monitoring standpoint if they're getting better or if things are getting worse.
It's only a representative scoring what you
Got
get.
it. Okay. Well, great. I really appreciate the insights you both have shared. This has been really valuable learning for me, and I hope for all the people that are joining today's webinar. I'd like to ask if either one of you have any closing comments before we turn it over to our audience and see if there's any questions. Bharat, do you have anything you want to kind of close and wrap up and comment on before we?
Yeah, definitely. See, there is a need for kind of human psychological change. See, technology definitely plays a major role, but still, it's all human tendency or human psychology, which make all efforts in vain, because a small greed or small mishap can bring down the whole organization. So I think along with the technology, psychological health of people, those who are managing security, also very, very important. And that comes only when you pull them out of the mess. Because as Rahul was saying that yesterday it was good, the same version has breached today. How we can balance with that? Because that's where they come into big trouble. So I would suggest that data stratification or data analytics can really help to the security professional to build, maintain, and improve their security posture. But on top of that, with this technology, they need to continuously monitor people's behavior, continuously advise, educate them that what is wrong, what is good for their organization from the security perspective.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Rahul, any closing comments from you?
Yeah, I would like to stress upon other important aspect of intelligence sharing. We continuously need to collaborate, share the information, share the knowledge, and that will definitely help in overcoming these security issues to a certain extent. The more you share, the more you collaborate, the more we get to know the unknowns. And then that will help us prepare for any kind of eventuality, because ultimately everybody does not know everything. So the collaborative effort can help in proactive identification of such threats, and definitely the organizations need to do that at global level and at every level possible.
Okay, great. Really good insights. Thank you both for being here today and helping us explain these concepts to our audience. Bhairavi, I'm going to turn to you, and as our host, do we have any questions from the audience that might be appropriate for either Rahul or Bharat to try and answer?
Thank you for the introduction. We do have about 3 questions here. They are a little technical, but I'm sure you guys will be able to take it further.
Sure. So, Barry, I can see the question. Let me take the first question.
Sure, please.
Saransh Rawat has asked us that what could be the steps an organization should take once they are affected with a ransomware attack. So, it's very hard really that once you are attacked through a ransomware, all you may have to do is you have to scrap the system. That's the only thing which you can do, because to be honest with you, a ransomware as such, there is no remedy available unless you are ready to pay that to hefty ransomware. And even I have heard that people have paid this much of million and this much of billion, and all this is fine. But once it is taken, once a control is taken of your system remotely by hackers, and fallback have happened from your system, they have taken everything out, and they might have established some backdoors and things like that. So even though if your system is decrypted by paying a ransom, there is no guarantee that they have not left traces in their environment. That is point number one. The other thing is, instead of the people waiting for such thing to happen, in my view, in the current situation, while you don't have a proper tool available, which you can say it is an anti-ransomware, like antivirus. There's no anti-ransomware yet figured out, and if it is there, it may not be a single solution for all type of ransomware. So the best idea is that if it is in critical business, make sure that you have a good backup system in place, which not only the data, but entire infrastructure, entire OS. So if something goes wrong, the best thing what you can do, that you kill that system, destroy it, and reproduce from the backup what you have taken. That's a more practical remedy than waiting for attack to happen and then take some action later on.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I totally agree with Bharat. We need to have the backup, a golden copy of your application, your data, and try to rebuild from that. That's the best solution.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. The next question is from Kunal Narula. How to handle internal threat actors from an executive perspective?
Yeah, I would like to take up that. Thanks, Kunal, for asking this. So basically, as we were talking about the AI-based systems, right? So leveraging those AI-based systems, the various organizations, OEMs have now brought in a kind of a solution called user behavior analytics. So when you have your various users, you definitely have certain policies, certain rule-based, certain access privileges given to them, right? So a regular usability audit of their actions can help you identify what anomalies those users are trying to create in the systems. Like, for example, let's say you have been asked to log into a system from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on a daily basis. One fine day, suddenly we find that your user ID is accessing a particular server at 2 a.m. in the night, right? That could be there could be only 2 answers for that. One, either it is a genuine request or a genuine access, but it is an anomaly which has been raised in the system, right? So trying to identify whether it is really an anomaly, whether you are really accessing that at a 2 a.m., that kind of immediate investigation from the SOC team perspective should be done. And if at all it is not a real access, then all the steps and measures to block such kind of access should be immediately instantiated so that we can safeguard our systems.
So just add, let me add something, Rahul.
Sure.
while yes, there are AI, ML, and everything is fine in terms of detecting internal threat. The most important thing from the control perspective, zero trust. Zero trust can map your access with the role and not with the designation. Because I've shared this example many a time in all my public talk. You should not have access to a system because you are a CEO or MD or top shot of the company. You have nothing to do with the CBS of a bank. If you are chairman of the bank, you don't know. It is job of DBA. Let DBA have access to the required database and the things associated with the bank, but not the CEO. So internally, in Indian business environment, we respect the boss a lot, and we need to respect boss for sure, no doubt. But when it comes to security, you have to stand up. You have to take a stand. That look, though you are a top man, tell me what is your role. If your role required, I will give. Not by designation, not by position what you're having. I think that's one of the important aspect in addition to what Rahul said. Unless you stand up and you put counter argument, one day he's a top man, so he will say, no, I was not aware that this may go wrong, but you people were aware. You are security professional, you should have made me aware about this. So now we are nowhere.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So better to fight at the beginning rather than having a sorry face at later stage.
Moreover, you're protecting an organization overall. So
of course,
important in front of an organization. So definitely that is the stand you need to take.
Very good. Great answer. Thank you for that context.
And
Ravi?
I think we'll just take one last question. How can we make cybersecurity awareness more effective for the employees? Which one?
Bharat, you want to take that?
Like to take
Or-
that?
okay. No, naturally, I think why it is employee. I think see today's context, everybody has to go for continuous learning. Whereas in terms of a professional environment where employees, one of the I think what I have practiced and rather I have learned over a period of time that detective thing does not help. You have to design control right from the beginning, because adding security at later say or afterthought and try to people practice security as a day-to-day work, that does not happen in all the cases. So why don't you design control in a way where security should not disturb the job of a regular employee, but at the same time they should not bother about security, and that's how you can bring little control, because trust is good, controls are better. So let having a firewall and allowing any does not make any sense, right? So we have to think from that perspective that look, when it is a security, security is everybody's job. That's the fundamental thing should come right from the top. It is not the poor guy who is CISO or security team responsible for whosoever create a problem in the organization. No, security is everybody's responsibility, and it has to be practiced right from top to bottom, everybody, because weakest link can be CEO or it can be a sweeper of the company. God knows who are. So continuous and continuous awareness, phishing campaign, enhanced skill training, all this work, but let's not add security as a afterthought in any of the service or product we deploy.
Yeah, let's apply this as an example to your day-to-day life, right? Like if both of you are going out, you won't say that, okay, closing the door is my brother's responsibility or somebody else's responsibility, right? You're also concerned that you need to close the door when you are going out. So that is the kind of concern everyone should share when it comes to cybersecurity as well. And that is what is very important to increase the awareness and take the appropriate steps when you find something anomalous, some kind of misbehavior in your infrastructure, in your system, in your endpoint, or whatever the system it could be.
Great. Well, I think that that helps us kind of close the loop from my point of view, because we just talked about in the beginning, at the board level now, executives are aware of cybersecurity, and now it needs to ripple all the way through the organization to the lowest levels. So each and every part of the organization, every employee is aware and knows that it's his or her responsibility to participate in cybersecurity and manage the risk for the organization. And I wanted to just close today by thanking you, Bharat, and thanking you, Rahul, for your time today. We really appreciate it. You've shared some really good things for our attendees and the people that are listening today, and answered some good questions for them. So thank you both. Thank you to the people who've joined us today. And with that, I think we'll end our session. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Have a nice
Bye-bye.
day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye now.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Nice talking to you all. Take care. Bye-bye.
Nice talking to you, Bharat. Thank you.